Hey guys, so today what I'm going to be talking about is something that I get asked quite a bit, and that is how many times a week should I train, or what is optimal? Now there is no single answer for this one. It really depends on the person, and there are a whole range of different factors which play a part when you look at your training program, and I'll touch on those within this video. The first thing I would consider when you're looking at how many times a week you should be training is consider your background. So what are you used to? If you're coming from quite a sporting background, or you've been going to the gym for quite a while and you're used to training 5, 6, 7 times a week, then obviously your body's going to be much more adapted to it. If you're new to the gym and you're not used to this heavy volume, then obviously I'd start off at a lower frequency in terms of how many times a week you train. So first consider where you're coming from before you look at your whole program. The second thing I would consider is, what is your goal? What's your objective in terms of your training? If you're trying to put on muscle mass as opposed to really trying to build up your cardio, the amount of times a week you can train vary quite significantly, because when you recover is actually when your muscles grow. So it's really important to consider what are you trying to get out of your training before you look at how many times a week you're training. The third one, and this one's really important, and that is, how is your body recovering from one session to another? This is a really good indicator as to how many times a week you can train. So if you're recovering really well and you come in quite fresh, then that amount of times a week you're training can probably be increased, or the intensity can be increased. If you're coming in, you're feeling quite fatigued when you start your session the next day, that might be a good sign to either firstly dial back the intensity, or maybe even take out 1 or 2 times a week in terms of how often you're training, depending on your background, what you're used to. So that's a really good indicator. Now the fourth thing I'd be considering as well is, what is your nutrition like? You need to be eating really well in order to recover from one session to another. So are you supplementing? Are you eating foods that are high in protein? Are you eating consistent meals throughout the day? These are things you need to consider in terms of how your body is going to recover. So if you're not eating too well, you need to be able to change that in order for your body to get used to training at a high volume. So that's really important to consider as well in terms of where you are at the moment. Now I want to touch on quickly for those that have the capacity to train twice a day, for example, and how you should be approaching that. If you look at professional athletes and how they train, they obviously do this day in, day out. The type of training they're doing when they're training 12, 14 times a week is very different to the type you might be doing training 7 days a week. They'll be doing recovery sessions, they'll be doing sessions which are more focused on technique, they'll be doing strength sessions. What I would do is single out what your targets are within each of those sessions, change the intensity and change the type of training you're doing in order to be able to meet your objectives. This is really important, and recovery sessions play a much bigger role, so does nutrition, when you start to up it above 7 times a week. So what I personally would recommend is have your sessions which you know you're going 100% on. Have those speed sessions, have those strength sessions where you know you're going all out and you're really trying to push your PRs, your personal bests. Also, make sure you have intensity sessions which are dropped within your training program. So the next day, have a recovery session. Keep moving, keep your legs moving, and that'll be great for making sure you're fine for that afternoon. So if you look at how professional athletes train, it's very different to how your gym goer will train on a day-to-day basis. Now my advice to everyone, and this comes from training a whole range of people, from professional athletes down to someone who's never been to the gym before, is that habits are really important, but you need to consider how your body is reacting to the training. So firstly, I would aim to at least move your body every single day. This doesn't have to be a gym workout, it doesn't necessarily have to be a run or whatever it might be, just aim to move every day. So you might go to the gym 3 times a week and walk the rest of them, say if you're new to the gym. Why is this important? It builds up habits, and don't underestimate the power that habits play on your long-term objectives. If you're used to training or moving every single day, every afternoon, you know you're doing something, it becomes a lot easier mentally to be able to put this into action and to be able to move every day. If you're trying to train every second day, you'd be surprised it's actually harder to get your butt to the gym in order to do your workout. So try to move every single day. It doesn't have to be at a high intensity to build those habits. What I would consider now is the intensity at which you're training at. So if you're training every day and you're coming back the next session, you're feeling quite fresh and recovered, and you continue going, it might be a good indicator to start to increase the intensity from one session to another. You do want to be slightly sore when you get into the next session. You don't want to be completely fresh, but at the same time, you don't want to come in and be completely wrecked when you start that session. So if you're used to moving your body and training every day, look at the intensity in order to really up the ante in terms of your training. So the really simple answer to this question is, try to train or move your body daily, mainly for the benefits you get through habits. Once you're into that, change the intensity for how you train. So think about how you're recovering and listen to your body. I know it's quite a blasé thing to say, but listening to your body is the most important and it's the best reflection on what the training is doing to you. So if you're recovering really well, up the ante. If you're not, obviously bring it back a little bit. That's a really simple way to look at it, but that's the way I would recommend when you're looking at how many times a week you should be training. Thanks for watching, guys. It was a very simplified version. If you've got any specific questions, add them below or hit me up directly and I'll try to get back to them as fast as I can. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys next time.